You know that feeling when life just feels completely overwhelming?
Oh, absolutely. The relentless pace, maybe
Wait.
too much information coming at you.
Exactly. Too many demands and, well, so many things feel outside your control. I think we all wrestle with that.
It's a very common modern experience.
But what if there was this ancient philosophy developed, thousands of years ago
Okay.
that actually offers like really practical, relevant tools for today,
Yeah.
for navigating all that adversity and finding some, genuine calm.
That's precisely what Stoicism offers. It's fascinating, really. It began in ancient Greece, sure, but it truly flourished and had a massive impact in Rome.
Right.
It shaped the thinking of emperors, philosophers, even slaves. At its heart, Stoicism isn't about dodging problems.
No.
No, it's about fundamentally changing how we react to them, how we think about the world, and crucially, where we choose to put our energy.
Okay, and that's exactly what we're going to do in this deep dive. We're looking at the sources you've provided, and we want to pull out the most powerful nuggets of wisdom from Stoicism. The goal is for you, listening, to walk away really well-informed about its history, which sounds fascinating already, its core ideas.
Yeah, how people actually lived it.
Exactly. How its proponents lived it, and really importantly, how this, well, timeless wisdom is still helping people find peace and purpose today. So, where do we start? It spans millennia.
Let's start at the beginning. Makes sense.
Okay, so where did Stoicism actually take root? Our sources say Athens, right? Around 301 BCE.
That's right. Founded by a merchant named Zenon of Sitio. He was from Cyprus.
And the story about him is interesting. He came to philosophy after a shipwreck.
Yeah, supposedly lost everything, and that disaster kind of pushed him towards philosophy. Imagine finding your life's purpose like that.
Wow. And the name itself, Stoicism.
It comes from the Stoa Poikile. That means painted porch. It was basically a public gallery in Athens where Zenon would teach his students.
Huh. Just out in the open.
Pretty much. Now, there were important early figures like Cleanthes and Chrysippus, but honestly, most of the writings we still have today.
The ones we can actually read.
Exactly. They come from the later Roman Stoics, people like Panicio, Posidonio, Seneca, Epictetus.
And the big one, Emperor Marcus Aurelius.
Right. And it didn't just die out. It had this resurgence in the 16th century, Neo-Stoicism, they called it.
Blending with Christian thought.
Yeah, and it even influenced major modern thinkers like Kant and Spinoza. It's got long legs.
That's quite a lineage.
But what's truly remarkable, I think, is that right from the start, Stoicism wasn't picky about its audience.
What do you mean?
It appealed to everyone, literally everyone. You had Epictetus, who started life as a slave,
Right.
and Marcus Aurelius, arguably the most powerful man on earth at the time, Emperor of Rome.
That's an incredible range. Why such broad appeal?
Because it wasn't about some, ivory tower intellectual debate. Its appeal was its sheer practicality. It offered real-world, actionable answers to universal human problems, like how do you deal with getting sick? How do you handle criticism? How do you control your anger or resist temptation?
Stuff everyone faces.
Exactly. It's a philosophy for living, not just for thinking about abstract ideas.
That makes sense. It's
Yeah.
not just for scholars. It's for, well, us, living day to day.
Yeah.
So if we were to boil it all down, strip it to its absolute core, what's the central idea, the defining Stoic approach?
Okay, the most fundamental principle, and Epictetus put this incredibly clearly, is what we call the dichotomy of control.
Dichotomy is control, okay.
He said, some things are under our control and others are not. It sounds simple, right?
Almost too simple.
Maybe, but it's profound. Think of it like a mental sorting mechanism. What's genuinely in our control?
Our thoughts.
Reaction.
Precisely. Our opinions, our impulses, our desires, our aversions, basically our own judgments and actions. These, the Stoics said, are truly free, unhindered. Nothing external can truly touch them if we don't let it. Okay, so that's bucket one. What's in bucket two? The not in our control stuff.
Everything else, literally. Our physical body, it gets sick, it ages. Our property, it can be lost or stolen. Our reputation, what other people think of us.
Right. Definitely not in our control.
External events, the weather, the economy, pandemics, and crucially, the actions of other people. All these things are, in Stoic terms, weak, dependent, subject to countless external forces and obstacles.
So the key isn't just knowing the difference.
No. The key is where you put your energy, your focus. The Stoics believed strongly that true freedom, true happiness, comes from directing all your attention and effort only onto what's actually within your power, your inner world.
And what happens if you don't? if you focus on the external.
Epictetus warned about this. He said if we mistakenly believe things outside our control are ours, like our health, our reputation, someone else's approval, we are setting ourselves up for constant frustration.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You'll suffer.
You'll suffer, you'll feel thwarted, you'll end up blaming other people or fate or even God. But, he argued, if you truly internalize this distinction, really get it,
Yeah.
then no one can force you to do what you genuinely don't want to do deep down. And no one can stop you from doing what you truly intend, which is acting virtuously, responding rationally. It changes the whole dynamic.
That really does shift everything. It's about accepting the boundaries of your influence and focusing on your, sphere of action. I remember reading Seneca on this.
Ah, Seneca, yeah.
He said something like, the wise man cares about the intention of his actions, not their results.
Exactly. A perfect summary.
Our initial action is under our control, but fortune determines its end. So you do your best, right? You act with good intention.
With virtue.
With virtue. But then you kind of have to let go of the outcome.
Yeah.
Because that final result, so often, it just isn't up to you.
Precisely. Detach from the outcome, focus on the input, your input.
Okay, so if that core principle is about where we focus internally, how did the Stoics actually teach people to manage that internal world? Master the mind, especially when things get tough outside.
Right, because it's one thing to say focus inward. It's another to actually do it when you're, say, angry or afraid.
Yeah.
This brings up a really critical question about what actually upsets us. Is it the event itself?
Well, it feels like it is, doesn't it?
It feels like it, but Epictetus famously said it's not the events that upset us, but our judgments about the event.
Ah, okay. That's huge.
It's a cornerstone of Stoic psychology and incredibly relevant today. They talked about our first impressions. They called them fantasias.
Fantasias, like fantasies.
Sort of, but more like initial mental images or impressions. And the point is, these aren't always accurate. Often they're distorted or they come preloaded with emotional baggage, with judgments.
Okay, give me an example.
Sure. Let's say you drop a glass, it shatters. Your immediate fantasia might be, oh no, I'm so clumsy, I always mess things up. That's the impression, plus a negative judgment.
Right, I can see that.
The Stoic practice is to pause and question that first impression. Instead of, I'm clumsy, you train yourself to simply state the objective fact. A glass broke.
Just the fact?
Just the fact. You separate the external reality, broken glass, from your internal, subjective, and often unhelpful judgment. I'm clumsy.
That requires mindfulness, doesn't it? Paying attention.
Exactly. They had a word for it. Presosh. It means attention or mindfulness. It's about cultivating awareness of your thoughts as they arise.
And inserting that pause.
Yes. Inserting that crucial pause between the stimulus, the event, and your response. It allows you to transform what might have been an automatic emotional reaction.
Like getting angry or feeling down on yourself.
Into a more rational, considered, deliberate action or response. Epictetus also said, you become what you give your attention to. Control your attention. You control your thoughts. You direct your actions towards your real goals.
It's like developing a mental muscle. A superpower, almost.
It really is. And it's not just about managing the negative stuff, the anger or fear.
No. What else?
It's about cultivating a specific state of being. The Stoics aimed for ataraxia.
Ataraxia. Sounds calm.
It is. It means tranquility, serenity, a deep inner calm that isn't easily shaken by external events.
And how do you get there? Just by managing judgments.
They believed acting virtuously, living according to reason, and those cardinal virtues we'll talk about naturally leads to the state of calm. The flip side is also true. An anxious, disturbed mind struggles to act rationally or virtuously.
So virtue and calm are linked.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? This pursuit of calm isn't about becoming emotionless like a robot. That's a common misconception about Stoic.
Right, the stereotype of the stiff upper lip.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not about suppressing all feelings. It's about avoiding destructive passions. Things like overwhelming distress, paralyzing fear, consuming lust, or irrational, excessive delight. They saw these as rooted in faulty judgments.
Okay, so avoid the destructive passions. What's the alternative?
Instead, a wise person, or someone progressing towards wisdom, experiences what they called eupatheia, good feelings.
Good feelings, like...
Things like rational joy, a considered wish or desire for something truly good, and appropriate caution. These feelings are clear-headed, balanced, consistent with reason, not excessive, not diminished, just appropriate.
That's a really nuanced picture of the inner life. And it sounds familiar. like modern psychology.
It absolutely should. This is why Stoicism is seen as a direct philosophical ancestor to modern therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT,
Right, CBT.
and rational emotive behavior therapy, REBT. Pioneers like Aaron Beck and Albert Ellis, they explicitly drew inspiration from these Stoic ideas.
Especially the idea about judgments causing distress.
Exactly, that core principle. It's our interpretations, our judgments, not the events themselves that are the primary source of emotional turmoil. And it's not just theory anymore.
There's research.
Oh, yeah. Recent studies are backing this up. One in cognitive therapy and research from 2021 showed practicing Stoic principles significantly cut down on negative rumination, getting stuck and loose of bad thoughts. Another study, this one in BMC Medical Education in 2022, found that for medical students, Stoic training boosted their resilience and even their empathy.
Wow. So ancient wisdom is holding up to modern science.
It really seems to be. It bridges that gap remarkably well.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the inner game, managing judgments, attention, aiming for ataraxia. But how does Stoicism guide us out there in the messy external world? How do we live stoically?
Right, because it's a philosophy of action, not just contemplation. For the Stoics, the ultimate goal of life, the supreme good, was eudaimonia.
Eudaimonia. We hear that word a lot with ancient philosophy. Happiness.
Often translated that way, yeah. But happiness can be a bit misleading, maybe too passive. It's better understood as human flourishing, self-realization, living the best possible human life.
Okay, flourishing. How do we achieve that, according to the Stoics?
Through virtue, or arete in Greek. It means excellence, particularly excellence of character and rational action.
And they specified certain virtues, right?
They highlighted 4 cardinal virtues. Wisdom, which is practical knowledge, sound judgment, justice, treating others fairly, contributing to the common good, courage, acting rightly despite fear or difficulty, and temperance, moderation, self-control, managing desires.
Wisdom, justice, courage, temperance.
For a Stoic, virtue isn't just like a nice bonus, it's everything. It's both necessary and sufficient for eudaimonia, for flourishing.
Sufficient, meaning you don't need anything else, like wealth or health.
According to strict Stoicism, no, those things are indifference. Nice to have, perhaps, but not essential for a good, virtuous, flourishing life. Seneca put it bluntly, no tranquility without good conscience.
So living virtuously is the good life. Calm is just a byproduct.
Exactly. Serenity flows naturally from living a virtuous life. This really set them apart from, say, the Epicureans, who saw pleasure as the ultimate goal.
Right. For Stoics, pleasure.
And indifferent, not inherently good or bad. In fact, Seneca sometimes argued that chasing pleasure for its own sake could actually be a vice, distracting you from virtue.
So being Stoic isn't about being cold or emotionless. It's about being incredibly disciplined, focused on virtue. How does that translate when things inevitably go wrong, when adversity strikes?
Ah, that's where another powerful concept comes in. Amor fati.
Love your fate.
Love your fate, exactly. It's not just about grudgingly accepting what happens. It's about actively embracing it, welcoming it.
Welcoming hardship. That sounds tough.
It is, but the idea is to see obstacles, challenges, misfortunes, not as, well, misfortunes, but as opportunities.
Opportunities for what?
Opportunities to practice virtue, to practice courage, patience, resilience, wisdom. Remember Zenon and his shipwreck?
Yeah, he called it a prosperous journey.
Because it led him to philosophy, to virtue. The Stoics use this analogy of a dog tied to a moving cart.
Okay.
The dog can either walk along willingly with the cart, maybe even enjoy the ride, or it can resist, dig its heels in, get dragged and choked.
But it ends up at the same destination either way.
Exactly. As Seneca said, fate guides those who accept it and drags those who reject it. Amor fati is about choosing to walk willingly, finding value even in the difficult parts of the journey, seeing it all as part of life's larger tapestry.
That's a profound reframe. Wow. And it links back to freedom, doesn't it? We often think freedom is doing whatever we please.
But the Stoics had a very different take. For them, the worst kind of slavery wasn't being owned by another person.
Oh.
It was being enslaved to yourself, to your own passions, your impulses, your irrational desires, your fears. Chasing pleasure, avoiding discomfort at all costs, that, to them, was a form of slavery.
So true freedom is
The capacity to act guided by reason, by your highest self, not by fleeting whims or reactions. Marco Aurelius wrote notes to himself, like, you are an adult, you will not be enslaved. By any impulse, you will stop complaining and not fear the future.
powerful self-talk.
And this idea of freedom also connects to simplifying your life. If you need less, you are freer.
Mm.
The less you are attached to external things, possessions, status, even specific outcomes, the less power those things have over you. The endless pursuit of superficial pleasures, which is maybe amplified in our modern world,
Absolutely.
that can be a new kind of slavery. Always chasing the next hit, the next distraction, never really free or satisfied.
Which brings us perfectly to how we use our time.
Yeah.
Seneca had some sharp words about that.
Oh, absolutely. He was brutal about wasted time. He wrote famously, "It's not that we have little time, but that we lose much."
Ouch. True, though.
He pointed out how weird it is that people feel deeply indebted if someone gives them a small amount of money, but they let people steal hours, days, weeks of their time, which can never be repaid without a second thought.
So true. We guard our money more than our time.
His advice was cutting. No one puts a price on their time. He suggested, almost like a thought experiment, imagine your time has a monetary value. What's an hour worth? If an hour is worth, say, $100, then losing 3 hours mindlessly scrolling suddenly feels like losing $300. Makes it more tangible.
That's a very practical way to think about it.
Right.
What was his advice for stopping the waste?
Simple but profound. I keep account of my expenses. He meant keep track of your time. Know what you're spending it on, why, and how it gets lost. That awareness is the first step.
You can't fix what you don't measure.
Exactly. It forces you to clarify your goals, focus your attention, that prososh again, on what's genuinely important and actually within your control. Stop frittering away the only resource you can never get back.
That is a definite wake-up call. So bringing it all together, what does a Stoic actually look like day to day? Is this state actually achievable? Can someone be a perfect Stoic?
That's a great question. The Stoics themselves would say probably not. The true Stoic, the sophos or wise person, is more of an ideal, a North Star to aim for.
Like perfection?
Yeah, and the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. It's about constantly striving, asking yourself, what would a wise person do in this situation? And then reflecting honestly on your actions, your mistakes, and learning from them to do better next time.
So it's a continuous practice.
Absolutely. In everyday life, someone practicing Stoicism is aiming for those key things. Objective judgment, seeing things as they are without adding negative spin. Rational action, acting in accordance with virtue and reason. And unconditional acceptance of external events, amor fati.
So questioning first impressions.
Definitely. Managing their attention, that prososh. Prioritizing what's important and controllable. Detaching from outcomes. Embracing fate.
Seeing obstacles as opportunity.
Yes, and striving for that internal freedom from being yanked around by impulses or emotions, always focusing back on virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, temperance as the path to that deeper flourishing, that eudaimonia.
It really does sound like a lifelong workout for the mind and character.
It is. Epictetus constantly stressed that philosophy isn't about memorizing theories. It's a way of life that demands constant practice, constant training. Ascosis.
Living it, not just knowing it.
Exactly. Like if someone insults you, the practice isn't just knowing it's their opinion. It's feeling that truth in the moment, realizing the sting comes from your judgment, not their words. Seneca had that quote about practice.
Which one?
Long is the path of instruction by means of theories, short and effective by means of practice. The real change happens by doing, by applying it in the thick of life.
So to wrap up for you listening, you've learned that Stoicism isn't about being cold or emotionless.
Yeah.
Not at all. It's really about disciplined thought, rational action.
And cultivating a kind of deep inner calm and resilience that holds up no matter what's happening externally.
You've discovered it's fundamentally about figuring out what's truly in your control. Your thoughts, judgments, actions, and what isn't.
And then pouring all your energy into the part you can control. It's about reframing challenges, seeing them as opportunities, really, and understanding that happiness, that flourishing, it comes from within. It comes through practicing virtue.
It really is a powerful system for living a more peaceful, purposeful, and I think resilient life. For you, the learner, this deep dive hopefully gives you some really practical strategies for managing your time, your reactions, your focus on what truly matters.
And maybe we can leave you with this final thought to chew on. If the goal isn't necessarily to eliminate all the challenges life throws at you, because let's face it, that's impossible,
Right.
but instead to transform how you respond to them, what's the one principle, the one idea from Stoicism we've talked about today that you could choose to apply, even in a small way, in your own life? Starting right now, in your own theater of life, as they might say.